We
gotta
are
like sign in first, right? Though, have we signed in or
Signed in.
signed in.
like have we started the show?
No, we
No.
haven't started yet. I
We
was just,
haven't.
We've
gone through-
oh, we've started now, Tim. Welcome to Old Drunken Discography.
What?
Thank you for that great introduction. It's not just me that gets it. Thank you.
We all get a little special introduction here. We're talking the fucking Ramones. We're on album 6, technically 7, because we recorded our X review. Go check that out. So, as we said in the first video, if you missed it, we talk about records and we get drunker and drunker as we go. So, if you're just tuning in now, if you'd like to hear a more serious, sober discussion of the Ramones, go to a different channel. I'm your host, Jason. With me is Bill.
Or you could just go watch our other videos where we talked about this band. Might be a better option.
That too, yeah. I don't want to send you to the competitors. And Tim.
She went away for the holiday.
Says she's going to L.A.
She never got there.
She never got there.
She never got there. They say.
Baby away.
Like I said in the original video, first video, that was the first Ramones song I heard. Didn't know it was the Ramones. I was shocked. Eventually I want to deep dive, or I wouldn't even say deep dive. I checked out the Ramones. And I heard the KK. It just flooded back those memories of I guess at that time it would have been like 10 years, 15 years. It's like, it made me think of it as being a kid. Like, holy shit, that was the Ramones that wrote that fucking song. And shout out Michael for getting me into the Ramones, I guess. So Pleasant Dreams. It's Bill's turn to talk first, I believe.
You're damn right it is. And we want airwaves. This was a solid intro. Not the strongest. Not their weakest so far. They've had some good intros. Like, I'd say this was easily definitely top 3 intro in the entire discography. I mean, its competition is pretty stiff, though, when you look at the prior albums.
Oh, no, yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
It really just goes. They do some dynamic stuff, actually, on it, which is interesting, just because usually Ramones, I don't want to say they just do the same thing throughout a song. They do a simple idea, but they do it well. This one's like, okay, did idea, and we're going to shift, and then we're going to shift back. I really liked how they did that on that one. All's quiet on the eastern front as opposed to the western front. It's okay. I'm not sure. My notes were it's the beater vocals and I circle vocals, so I'm not sure if it's the vocals that just something sounds slightly off to me. And it's off not in a detrimental way, but in a negative way compared to the rest of the Ramones I had been hearing up to this point. It's a good song, just something just doesn't sound right. KKK Took My Baby Away. Well, this is an interesting song. It doesn't sound much like the prior Ramones, but it is still the Ramones, and you still have their sound ultimately in the bass line, and it's really good, and it's 1981. Really interesting song. Don't Go. See the above comment about it not being the Ramones, but it is still the Ramones, and goddamn it's right. I felt Don't Go was actually better than the KKK Took My Baby Away. It feels like a lateral move from their last album. Not necessarily better, not necessarily worse, just lateral. Which that's pretty alright compared to the last couple albums. You Sound Like You're Sick.
You sound like you're sick too.
I know. Tell me about it. It's a little repetitive, but goddamn, this is the Ramones I want to hear. Um, which Ramones naturally it's a little repetitive at times with some of the stuff, but it works. They do it well. It's not my place. Goddamn top song contender. It's a goddamn fun song. There's the vocally, the lyrics are awesome. It's it's just
I mean,
great.
it's a rallying cry, really. Every time I hear that song, it's like, yeah, it's not my place either. And you know, we are legion or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, because
people
like
who hate working day jobs.
that's like the whole like analogy to like working just a 9 to 5, your office, your clock in, clock out job. Like, no, that's not us. Screw you. We're gonna go do
Right.
our stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
And yeah, like not to interject too much more into your notes here, but that's very symptomatic of a lot of what the Ramones do. They take a very simple phrase and put so much meaning behind it.
Absolutely, and that's. I mean,
It's deceptive in a way. Like, yeah, people think they're a really simple band, but the more you listen to these and the more you think about them, like they're talking about some really crazy deep stuff here in a lot of songs.
I mean,
Way before a lot of other artists were even touching subjects.
Yeah.
that's the beauty of though of all art forms, not just music, right? You do something simple, right?
Mhm.
And
As long
then
as it's
there's
part
so
of
much
you and from the
meaning.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah. There's all this underlying meaning. It's like, oh shit, like, I never thought about this aspect. Like, just
Yeah.
that enables you to, I mean, at the end of the day, the best pieces of art are those that make you think after you're done seeing or listening to the art. That is the purest form of art, is making you just think deeply about something you never thought about or never thought about thinking about, like
100%.
just
Absolutely. Yeah.
unraveling those layers, which I thought actually they go again. She's a Sensation. I thought was a really solid sound, solid follow up to that one.
And that's the start of side two, of course.
Yep, which I thought that was a great sound, great start. My exact notes, my thought process while I was listening to it: solid sound, sounds like some stuff from like the 60s, maybe a little bit of 70s creeping in there, which it's a lot of the Ramones stuff, which they put their own spin to it. I'm like, all right, but it's okay, maybe. Well, the song kind of isn't ending, but that's I don't know about that song like side two, the first song, just because it went on a little longer than I would have liked, but I thought it was still a good song nonetheless. Like I felt like that maybe would have been a better. Actually, I was wondering if that might have been either side one or it could have been a good closer. I felt, excuse me, closer. Um, but anyways, going on to 7-Eleven, the that song it's a fun song, but comparatively, it's just it happens to an extent. Um, really not one of my favorites necessarily. You didn't mean anything to me. The first half was really damn good. The second half kind of lost me a little bit. Come on now. Not sure about it. The instruments I thought were really good on it. The vocals, though, fell short of expectations for me at least. And then we're gonna go to, let's see. Or it just did. Come on now, business is killing me. I thought it was a really damn good song on the album. One of the top songs probably on the album myself. Potential top song contender. It's really damn good. And we finish this off with Sitting in My Room. Ugh. What is this, and why was this the closer on a Ramones album? Not probably my least favorite closer up till this point, which was unfortunate given the album as a whole.
I wish we would have went back and forth on that one.
Honestly, Jason Mosley's I wish we had gone back and forth on.
So, before I read my notes, some shit happened during the recording of this record that.
Well, was it during the recording, or did it happen on the tour?
Before this.
For
Before.
the Century, and while they're making the movie, and just all the Hollywood shit's involved, and Phil Spector's, are walking around, and
some shit happened, and you can hear that on this record. This is a very divided record, and
if you don't know what Jason is alluding to, I highly recommend the documentary film End of the Century, the story of the Ramones, where it was revealed that around this time is when Johnny stole Joey's girlfriend. So all these awesome love songs that Joey's been singing up until now, well, the KKK just swept in and took her away. Johnny, of course, being famously right-wing. A lot of cloaked messages here. She's a sensation. I mean, and then you get a lot of stuff, too, where Joey's really upset at the fact that they haven't had that hit, and they haven't taken over the world.
I think End of the Century.
This business is killing me. We want the airwaves. It's not my place. Like, Joey's sick of this.
They really thought. I mean, End of the Century was set up to like just take over the world, and again, the rug was pulled out from under them, and here they are, and Joey is pissed. He is very upset.
And the guy they got to produce this one, Grant Gouldman, he was a member of 10cc, who in 1981 was like one of the rulers of that soft rock AM gold sound. Like, they were getting hits back then.
They're still trying.
Even this should have done something.
Yeah, 1981.
I believe it was We Want the Airwaves as the second video MTV ever played.
I didn't know that.
Everybody knows about the Buggles, but what was number 2?
That's fucked up. They just get the rug pulled out of them so much. It's sad. This band is just, it's sad. My notes for Pleasant Dreams. And on top of that, you also have Marky. This is when he's like deep into the alcohol. Joey
it's
too.
Pretty bad, yeah. It gets even worse on the next album, but we'll get there.
We Want the Airwaves. It's a classic. It's not my favorite opening. I'm still sticking with Road to Ruin on that, or End of the Century, or any of the other 3. But it's still a fucking great song. All's Quiet. It's fun. The KKK. It's classic. It's a top song contender. It's so bitter. It's just. We'll get into that later on a different video. Don't Go. Same with Don't Go. It just doesn't sound quite as bitter, but it's still another Joey pop rock song. You Sound Like You're Sick. Like, to me, Pleasant Dreams, it's sad. Like, every step.
Well, that's interesting, too, because Joey's got all these heartbreaking songs going on, because he just lost his girlfriend to Johnny.
Yeah.
But then you look at the Dee Dee songs, like You Sound Like You're Sick, and You Didn't Mean Anything to Me, and Sitting in My Room and stuff. And, like, Dee Dee's deep in the thralls of heroin addiction at this point.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
and so
lot of
like
shit going on for Pleasant Dreams.
Well, I mean, so something I just realized I didn't even think about till I'm looking at it here. This is the first album that the band members aren't featured on the cover, isn't it?
Technically, Road to Ruin is a cartoon, but it's of
Well, but
them. So
you
yeah,
know what I mean, though. Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah,
and
yeah.
most, it's only a
Well,
couple Ramones albums don't actually feature all the
when you
band
look
on
at
it.
the back, the smallest little picture of them
Huh.
is all you get.
Cause I'm just saying, cause even the albums after this, like, it's back to all four of them on the cover again.
I
Oh, we'll get to the
think that
cover of
and
Subterranean.
it might be on my other copy. Okay.
It's Not My Place. It's a classic. It's a top song contender. All the name drops. Hanging Out with Lester Bangs You All, and Phil Spector really hits it all, has it all. Uncle Floyd shows on the TV. Jack Nicholson, Clint Eastwood, 10cc. She's a sensation.
10cc, that's the dude that produced this album.
I
And
love the
of course,
drumming.
you can find them on the Uncle Floyd show on YouTube. That's a great performance.
I love the drumming and see She's a Sensation. It's another classic top song contender. It's pure sugary pop. You know, that evil word that Ed was talking about on the By the Way video.
It's a great word.
I love every second of it. 7-Eleven, though, I kind of agree with Bill. It's not my favorite. You Didn't Mean Anything. It's an angry banger. And I like the bitterness of this record more than the other side. This Business Is Killing Me. The synthesizers were just too much. That's my only issue with it. Come On Now is not my favorite. I agree with Bill on that one. I disagree with Sitting in My Room, though. That's a classic top song contender. Maybe they should try and sniff some glue. I mean, I don't know. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. There's bangers, but they're starting to show cracks.
Yeah, I just got a couple more things I wanted to say about it. We Want the Airwaves is one of my introductory pathways into the Ramones was on the Airhead soundtrack. If anybody remembers that 90s classic.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing movie, amazing soundtrack. And yeah, spiritually, like, yeah, I don't know if you guys caught the Doors references in that first verse. You got 9 to 5 and 5 to 9. We want the world, we want it now. Like, and then there's also a lot of references. It's very similar to The Who and their song Long Live Rock, where, you know, back in like the late 70s, you know, rock is dead, but rock will live forever. And here's the Ramones also like, hey, you know, you want rock to live forever, people got to hear it. And yeah, I don't know. We Want the Airwaves is it's like a call to arms for me. That's like one of the saving songs of rock and roll that should just be played all over the place. And we've talked about like DD, of course he's writing about Germany, so All's Quiet on the Eastern Front is a perfect title for him. And it's a great song. KKK Took My Baby Away. Yeah, like when you know the politics of the band, it takes on a whole new meaning. But just as a song as itself, it's great. It's catchy. It's super poppy and should have been a radio hit. But of course, leave it to the Ramones and just like without even trying to be punk, they're more punk rock than you. They're like, yeah, our radio hit's gonna have KKK in the title. You know,
I mean, somehow two fucking white bunkins in the fucking hood of Pensacola, Florida, somehow found that song. So
Well, and that was one of the beauties of the '80s, though, is people would like trade mixtapes and stuff. You never knew what you were getting.
Yep.
And that was a song that people would put on mixtapes. I love "You Sound Like You're Sick." I love "It's Not My Place" in the 9 to 5 world. "She's a Sensation" is another one I want to talk about in lines with "We Want the Airwaves." They're both the first song on the side of the album, so they're the side openers. And there's a song on The Who's "Tommy" called "Sensation" that is very similar to this, and I can see Joey post his girlfriend leaving him for his guitarist, sitting in his room listening to those early Who albums, really connecting to the themes of isolation and loneliness that the Who presented. I don't know. Go back and watch those episodes. They're really good. And but yeah, that's a song that really, I mean, it's a great song. I can really hear the Who influence though. And really throughout most of Joey's songs here, you can tell he's listened to those sad Pete Townsend songs. Yeah, 7-Eleven's there. It's I feel like that's an attempt to recreate the magic of "Oh Oh I Love Her So." Instead of meeting her at the Burger King and falling in love with the soda machine, now we're meeting at the 7-Eleven. And you know what? It's Seventh Heaven. Okay, whatever. It's shortly after this Joey will pick up his own bad habits that'll affect his life. Obviously, after such a moment. And then the only other thing I want to say is on the bonus tracks, you get an early version of "Touring," which isn't going to actually show up for a few more albums. And the alternate version of "Chop Suey" is super 80s. It's super fun. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say is much like Black Sabbath, the saying goes you can trust the first 5 albums. But I'm going to argue that 6 should be included. And I'm going to apply that to the Ramones as well. You could trust the first 6 Ramones albums. You can trust the first 6 Black Sabbath albums.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, okay, maybe there's a song here or two that you're like, whatever. But this is an amazing album. And these are some Ramones classics. And this is absolutely on par with the rest of the catalog up to this point.
Ooh.
Of course, you had to say that right before I'm about to try and guess everyone's goddamn album.
Trying to help you out.
I know. And the thing is, because you were just like first 5, so I'm going to guess it's not going to be there for you. Oh. Either you're trying to help me out or you're trying to sabotage.
This is how we are.
I think I'll go.
Which would I pick?
I'll go with what I think is the easier one first and say Jason is going to have this number 6 currently.
You are correct, but the color code will tell all. Just because it's behind Road to Ruin does not mean it's a bad record at all.
I'm going to guess Tim will have it. I was initially going to guess 6, but based on his... the thing is, no, it's going to stay 6. It's still going to be 6.
That's going to be incorrect. Looking at this now...
I thought he got your ass. I thought he got you.
Just because you said that this is the first one you said wasn't 11 out of 10.
That was a good attempt. Yeah.
So then it's going to be above end of the century, but that's it.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. Yeah.
God, I should have gone with my
I do think it's better than end of the century. I think end of the century belongs in the canon of the first 5 Ramones albums. So I'm still on board. Viva los Ramones.
Then we get to me. And it's going to go at number 5 for me.
And Bill is picking on some Rocket Tour.
No shit, that makes no sense to me. This is Chili Peppers all over again. Makes no sense.
What?
Do we need to go back to Rocket to Russia, man?
I don't think so, because that one I've listened to it several times now. The color coding will definitely tell all.
Okay. Stick around. Up next is Subterranean. You don't want to miss that. I'm sure it'll beat somebody's Rocket to Russia. Hot takes incoming. Yeah. Be safe, make good decisions. Like and subscribe. We love you guys. Check out the Patreon. You know what to do.